think we're live. So, welcome everybody to another interesting episode of the show behind the scenes of how we talk the world. And on today's episode, I have an interesting person in the studio. I mean, I've been looking for this person in this space, so it's an honor or privilege to have her share her time with us in the studio. So, she's by the name of Dr. Emmanuella Onaku. I hope I got that right.
You got it right.
Thank you very much for giving us some of your precious time. So, like I usually do, I'll leave the introduction to yourself. So, let's get to meet you.
Okay, nice to meet everyone from wherever part of the world you're listening from or watching from. Like you rightly said, my name is Emmanuella Onaku. I started my career as a clinician. I went to school in Nigeria, Ebonyi State University to be specific. Finished my house job, wrote primaries actually, but with the long wait time to get into specialty training, I decided to come to the US to get a Master of Public Health degree. The aim was to also write the USMLE and continue my residency here. However, I started public health, getting my master's in public health, and I don't know, I fell in love with it because I saw specialized in epidemiology and biostatistics. So
Okay.
I just felt more in love. It felt like it was something I could do long term. And then I picked it up from there. And then I was involved in various clinical research projects at the time. And then
Yeah.
post graduation, I worked at the National Institute of Health, to be precise, National Cancer Institute, where I managed various clinical trials. And after a while,
Okay.
I delved into medical devices. So I currently work as a principal clinical strategy manager at Abbott Laboratories, where I write clinical protocols and do a whole lot of fun stuff. That's about me.
So that's quite an interesting introduction. Anyway, we're going to unpack this, layer by layer, and it's very interesting, because I talk about alternative careers all the time. So that's like one of the biggest questions I get all the time, on my channel or from my newsletters. Yes, we're tired of medicine. What else can we do? And I'm like, there are so many options, really. And so your area is just one of the many options doctors can actually look to get into. So looking at what you do now, I mean, you mentioned that you fell in love while you were doing your MPH and decided, "Oh, okay, I'm going to leave the clinical people and just face this side, right?" So looking at what you do now and looking at clinical part of the whole thing, is there any correlation? Do they marry together or they're
Yes.
entirely different?
Yeah, I must say so. Our clinical background, one's clinical background obviously lends itself to a world of possibilities aside being a hospitalist. If you look at it from that lens, you
Yeah.
understand that there are other possibilities outside being the hospital. Like in all my roles leading up to this role, be it clinical trials, be it some form of epidemiological research, it's all
Okay.
about solving a health problem. So having that clinical background already gives you this very strong foundation. You're able to pick things, on the go.
Quick.
It's that terminologies are not your issues, pathophysiology is not your issue, and all that. It's literally all about, okay, what are the numbers? Why are we looking at this? What are the population? What burden are we trying to solve? What is the impact and all that? And so that's where you have to now start applying things like critical thinking skills, being people management skills, and all that. So your clinical background is actually a solid foundation to really be anything you want to be. However, it has to be streamlined in such a way that it looks like you're trying to tell a story. So, for
Okay.
instance, if you have a clinical background and suddenly you're found singing, sometimes people might question a lot of things like,
Struggle to understand.
cannot understand where is this leading to. But leaving clinical medicine and then delving into maybe clinical research, health informatics, and all that. So you have that still medical foundation leading you on, lending itself gradually and catapulting you into a world of possibilities. So yes, of course, it's a very beautiful gift that I cannot, like, it's a very beautiful gift that keeps on giving and has helped me so far. In fact, I walk
Yeah.
into a room and people take me more seriously, to be honest, no matter what it is, because they're like, yeah, she'll pick it up very fast. Kind of, she's gone to medical school, she has done stuff, so whatever. Throw stuff at her, she'll be fine. Simple.
She'll pick up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you miss being in the hospital?
I actually don't miss being in hospital. The reasons were sometimes what concerned me a lot were the long, unending hours, the countless exams. Not like I wouldn't still have done well, doing that, but at some point I was really thinking long term. You have to be comfortable. Oh, okay, so how the way I thought about my career, and I think the way my dad also helped guide me, in thinking about a
Okay.
lot of long term things is what you might not be happy doing when you're 60. Is it worth it? So, and I always knew that I was not going to practice in Nigeria for the long term. I always knew that I wanted more. I was that kind of person. I was always a go-getter.
Mhm.
I was always that person that always stood out, even when people are trying to think about something from the left. I don't do head mentality. I look at
Yeah.
every other possibility. So definitely in most westernized countries, at least from what I'm used to here, I won't speak for every country. Even being
Yep.
a consultant does not excuse you from having long hours, unlike what we have in Nigeria. So that was the way I
Yeah.
was thinking about it. And so, yes, I don't miss clinical medicine because of the really bizarre hours and the fact that it almost feels, at a point, it really feels like rinse and repeat. Yes, one or two cases might surprise you here and there, but at the end of the day, are there 100 different ways to treat one thing? Let's not be joking here. Do you get? I like the thrill of something new. I like the thrill to be in a pathway where something new can jump at you and you keep it going. Few years ago, we didn't have COVID-19. Even doctors had to
Yeah.
learn on the job. Let's not be joking here. So I like the trail of being on the discovery pathway compared to rinse and repeat. No shady deal to the hospitalists, but that's the way I consider clinical medicine.
I,
Really rinse and repeat.
I, yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, you earlier mentioned having the domain knowledge as doctors really, it opens up a lot of possibilities. And I mean, looking at myself, I went for a postgraduate degree in health informatics, and then people are like, "What's this guy doing? Where is he going to?
Yeah,
Is he sure he's not making mistake and all of those things?" But I kept quiet and just continued doing what I'm doing. So it's interesting that people are now beginning to develop interest in what
yeah.
we are doing over the side. And we are sort of becoming the guiding light. And like you said, I mean, that domain knowledge actually, gives us a lot of leverage in terms of what we're able to do, how you move quickly, and all of that. And me too. I don't miss clinical work actually too, because like you said, we live for the thrill of, I mean, like what I do now, EPR system. So every day is a new day. You don't even know what
Yes.
you're going to expect. You don't even know what is going to happen. So you're waking up every day thinking what's the worst case that could happen, but something interesting will happen
True.
that day. So it's not really like you said, we're not shading the doctors anyway, but or the clinicians really, but that's what it is. Now, looking at how you moved into this area, I mean, every transition is usually has its own challenges, really. So, what were the specific challenges that you sort of faced on that journey, and how did you navigate them?
I think my challenges were more of on the, will I say, people management skill kind of challenges, not really the hardcore stuff. I mean, I'm someone that easily could have done nuclear physics, you
Okay.
know. That's I'm very good with numbers and all that. So biostat and all that came very easy for me. I code in three different programming languages. It's no big deal actually. But as a regular or as a typical medical student that I was for a while, became a clinician and all that before I delved into this career pathway. I'm very introverted. So, you know how the typical Nigerian medical school is. They just want to see you pass, sha. Just be giving the
Just
score
pass
and
and be
going.
going.
But no, but they forget that education is not only. about getting your grades right and all that, leading in class. It's also developing you as a well-rounded person, right? Being able
Mm-hmm.
to have conversations outside what you're studying, being able to not really just come when you're in public, network, walk the room,
Yeah.
talk intelligently, not just medicine. Do you understand? So,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was this cultural shock, right? You're now doing these things in an environment where you did not even get your medical training. So the culture is different, the expectations are different. I suddenly found out, oh my God, when you talk about your dog or your cat, you sound more interesting than, than, than when you actually, than when you
All your movie
actually
stuff.
throwing movie stuff because I was a mover. I was Ella move the stuff. I move it to the next level. But fine, no, 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 no. You have to develop like more people's skills. So those are my challenges. I had to teach myself how to talk more, how to sound more
Okay.
interesting. Because it's only when you sound interesting, people are now they feel comfortable around you, they trust you. They can now listen to that high
You
falutin stuff you're talking about. That
that you want
high
to move.
but then when you don't look like you're open, how do you break into? So that was actually my challenge because I'm the typical nerd. I'm
Mm-hmm.
serious, like I'm very typical, but I taught myself better communication skills, not just
Yeah.
typing and all that, but so then managing people too. So being people management skills to be precise. Then
Okay.
our kind of education in Nigeria does not really build you to be a critical thinker. And that's because even some of us that have tried to think critically, think outside the box, ask some kind of questions. They shut you down. You know, why are you
Yeah.
doing too much? Blah blah blah. So you continuously find yourself having a lot of questions, but you cannot project those questions out. That's because of the way and manner we are trained. So coming into this
Yeah.
environment too, it took me a while to get back to that kind of person I was when I was always asking more questions. Why this? Why are we not doing
Questions.
this? Being, having that level of conversation, listening to other people, because listening to people too is also a skill. You don't know
Mm-hmm.
it all. It's a very important skill, not just hearing the words, understanding, listening, giving
Yeah.
intelligent feedback. So my challenges were more social challenges compared to this was not
Okay.
really intellectual. I could pick things up very fast. That's not the issue. But people management skills, critical thinking skills, not so much, but reviving that and then communication, networking, navigating, walking the room, looking more interesting, sounding more interesting, less boring like the regular medical person.
Yeah.
Those are the challenges, exactly.
But that's interesting. I mean, like for me too, like other people mentioned, this scenario where you're trying to get into an area where you really don't know enough people there, or you have no idea of people who have gone before you in that area. That
Yeah.
uncertainty that you're leaving the safety of clinical practice, getting into this space. Did you experience that?
Yeah, oh, a lot. In fact, I have some aunties that will still call and be like, since you went to the US, we've not seen that stethoscope around your leg. And my man, I'm like, kill that dream. Kill that dream. And so, why have we not seen? Then they compare it to one cousin or the other. Yes. So, yes, I actually had the jitters. And I actually wrote the steps, if it's that one. So, if it's yes, Emily, I wrote and dusted it. So, best
Oh,
believe, if
wow.
everybody should calm down. Do you get? No, 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 don't worry. And I did that. I did that because, at some point, you know what you want to do. You're moving for. I was moving forward, right? I knew it was clear. It was clear as day. I wanted something different. I wanted to be among the
Yeah.
innovators, the thinkers, people that will be thrown into things that no one knows the true answers, but we're trying to use our core knowledge to solve the problem. But then
Hmm.
at the back of my mind, I was like, hey, but Ella, you're good. Oh. Come, write the exam. Dig it. So I wrote all my steps, but I didn't apply. I didn't apply for the match because
Yeah.
at some point it was as clear as day. So yes, I struggled for a while. I had some colleagues. I had colleagues that would prepare for the steps together. We read together. When discussion group service, that one we did all that one. I did it, right? But at some point, I had to define my pathway. A lot of them felt like, "Are you sure? Yeah,
Of what
good."
you're doing.
I said, yeah, but I was like, no, I think it's time to really find my pathway and really see how it pans out. And to be honest, even as a medical, even being in medical school, being a clinician, I was that person that I wasn't so fixated on, oh, it must be surgery, it must be medicine. I'm very good at. So I think my adaptability skills is what has also helped me. If
Yeah.
it's pediatrics, I was dead set. I definitely knew how to manage, how what to do and how to do it. If it is internal medicine, so even when I was deciding on a specialty, I was that kind of person that it doesn't really matter because anywhere I knew I was going to excel.
I can do
I
well. Yeah.
hot and dry. If it's not surgery, I'm not doing. No, I'm not that kind of person. So I think that
Hmm.
having that kind of adaptability personality also helped me make up my mind, despite the fact that I took my time, wrote the steps, threw away my money, whatever. But yeah, here we are.
So do you always, sometimes look back and ask yourself, why did I even take all those steps?
I really don't because you know how it is as Nigerians. My mom would have been was clutching her pearls at some point. I sent this girl to medical school and
Okay.
what's happening here? So I did it for family. It's important. You must do some things. It's not everything you do for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm a Nigerian, so let's not be joking here. I did some things for family, so I did it. I don't regret doing the steps. At
Hmm.
least I was able to show that, oh, that thing people said I was going to come and do in the US, I did it. But
You
guess what?
did it. Yeah.
I'm not continuing. Now can I rest?
This is
You
where
know.
the road stops.
Yeah. Can I rest now? Yeah.
That's interesting. So, I mean, let's look at your career there. I mean, you didn't just get to the principal strategy lead, at Abbott. So, how was that journey? You did clinical research, clinical trials, and how did you get?
Yes, that's a very interesting question. So, like I said, when I started, I did my master's of public health at Boston University. That's a
Okay.
top-ranking public health school of public health in the US. In fact,
Okay.
at some point, it was ranking number 6. It's always ranked between 1 to 10, so it's always like
Wow.
so. It's
Okay.
it's a top school. First and foremost, it's a very top school. In my university, right? Most of the public health professionals there, our professors, we are active researchers in the Framingham Heart Study. I know every clinician knows this.
Hmm.
So, first and foremost, I did some research projects in the Framingham Heart Study where I initially started as a research assistant, as expected,
Okay.
and then before I knew it, I became like a research assistant too. And then I delved
Okay.
into other interesting research projects with other professors. I was very interested in public health, so I found myself trying to make sure I covered the gaps in the knowledge I had because, to be honest, in school when I was in medical school, I don't know, community health was so boring to me. So I didn't really pay enough
Even,
attention.
even for me too, anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't pay enough attention. And then I was ashamed that, oh my God, like, how could you have done postings in this? And in the MPH, you don't even know how to differentiate between epidemic, pandemic. Like, it was embarrassing.
The
Do you get?
basics.
So let's not be joking there. Yeah. So I really, it was clear to me I loved this and I couldn't believe how much I loved it. So I found myself even, requesting to be put on projects, research projects, whether I was going to be paid or not.
Okay.
That was not my aim. My aim was to learn as much and translate what I was learning in class. Because in the US, the public health program is 2 years. That's good. For the UK, I think it would do
Oh,
it like 1 year
wow.
or so.
It's 1 year
But
in the
then,
UK. Yep.
yeah, but then it gives you the opportunity to really learn more, practice. Your internship is actually longer. You actually do a master's thesis that is really, really well packed that you can actually publish. Very
Hmm.
good. So, with the kind of research I was really into, I had a lot of referrals before I was even graduating
Wow.
to work at the National Institute of Health. Now, for those people that don't understand, as as an immigrant that is still on an F1 visa, which is the student visa, right?
Yeah.
You actually naturally will not be taken in to work in any government. The NIH is government.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Easily. So usually what will happen is that if you're that good, through a contracting agency, you get to work for the government, actually. So you can
Hmm.
imagine being straight out of school working for the NIH. I graduated in the pandemic year. That's when COVID was happening. That's when things were happening. So
Happening. Yeah.
I was involved in a lot of clinical research, research that The names are not even clear. You'll be seeing NTC, like literally funny. Yes. So in at the NIH, I was directly working at the NCI, that's the National Cancer Institute. I initially started as a clinical data manager, a senior clinical data manager. So I was just analyzing
Okay.
data and all that good stuff. And then I dealt laterally into becoming a senior clinical research associate. So with that position, I was now managing more clinical trials. I was just ensuring that these trials are carried out in such a way that they were safe for patients and all that. I was
Yeah.
also facing with with the FDA, which is like the regulatory body, IRB
Yeah.
on one side and all that. Also interacting with different clients with respect to clinical research, and so that gave me an opportunity to also on the side have a lot of published works. To be honest, and
Mm.
that is now putting footprint in America. That's now
Yeah.
not just beyond your resume, you're now publishing, you're now going for conferences, you're now meeting people, you're now
Mm-hmm.
interacting, you're now socializing. So I told myself, I've had the academic experience, I've had government experience. I think biopharma or medical device company will be the way to go, because at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, my career goal, to be honest, is to, you know, be able to be among those that should be able to be instrumental in, developing interventions that would improve health outcomes, either through medical devices or through drug development and all that
Yeah.
good stuff. My background as a clinician lends itself to such a dream. My well-rounded clinical research experience in the NIH is actually the highest possible place you can
Yeah.
do clinical research in the world, not just in the US. So it just made sense that when I'm pigging now to industry, I would look like that ideal candidate that has
Yeah.
actually earned her place on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, with all my experience, I was not going to start at entry level. I was not also going to start at middle level. It was going to be maybe lower senior management
Yes.
level. That's what I was actually going for. And so I was that person that applied to 100 jobs per week. I'm not even joking. So people should not just think it's so
Wow.
easy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. And you give me one rejection, I give you five more applications.
Applications.
Spreadsheets, and all I had to do was I wrote down Fortune 500 companies that I wanted to work in. That's because I did not come to America to Cambridge. So I was done with regular. I was now, it was because in my head, I was like, I have built my profile enough to be able to work in one of these big companies, make that statement because I know where I'm going to. So, of
Mm-hmm.
course, I was applying to 100 jobs per week. And
Wow.
within 4 months, I had been shortlisted by different top ranking pharmaceutical companies. I won't bug anyone with the rest of them, but
Yeah.
Abbott was one of those companies that I've always, even as a medical student, I've seen what they've done. I've admired
Mm.
them from afar. I couldn't believe that it's possible to actually work at the headquarters and in such an important position as a principal clinical strategy manager. Now,
Yeah.
hearing that role, you might wonder what does it mean that this person is going to be doing. So typically,
Exactly.
what I do is I'm in charge of emerging markets, so I can't talk so much about the exact product, but you get what when I
Yeah.
say medical
Yes,
devices. So
market.
since it's
Yeah.
emerging project, the emerging market, I really can't talk about products. But either way, I have to cross-functionally liaise with research and development, marketing intelligence, clinical operations, while we are developing new products that we're trying to, you know,
Push to the
um,
market.
push to the market for to ways to improve, health outcomes on a larger scale. So in essence, that will involve me writing clinical protocols, doing engagement with key opinion leaders, attending conferences, cross-functionally relating with research and development because they're the ones actually making these devices. They'll conduct
Yeah.
their own in-house study, right? But then I'll have to I write protocols for the clinical utility studies because okay, you developed the product, but then we now have to do like a clinical utility study, real life on patients, like in hospitals to see how that thing you guys are saying you got the sensitivity, specificity, whatever it is you got that was high. Is that really the case here when you compare that particular device with the standard of care, no matter what the standard of care is? And then once that study is done, I now have to also ensure that these products are registered with the FDA. So this is where
Mhm.
marketing intelligence comes. Marketing intelligence also comes with respect to post marketing launch and all that. So it's a whole lot of moving parts. But at the end of the day, I'm very central to ensuring that new products are pushed into the market, and then these products are pushed into the market are actually safe and very high quality, so that health outcomes are actually reduced.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds great. And I mean, so all this while you mentioned a lot of, soft skills, talked about adaptability, talked about communication. Are there any technical skills? I mean, earlier you mentioned, when you were doing the role of I think the clinical data manager or something, doing analysis. So are there technical skills that people might want to focus on if they were looking to get into this role?
Yes, of course. If you're looking to get into this role, you your biostat has to be on point because um, when they run the analysis and they present results to you, if you don't even have an idea of why was this particular analytical method used,
Mm-hmm.
then you definitely will not be able to understand why the hell is this. If you don't understand why was it this sample size, why was this the criteria? These are the things you have at the back of your mind because you have those skills. So because I did epidemiology and biostatistics as my specialty in public
Oh,
health, I, I'm able to use SAS, I'm able to use R very well.
wow.
Yes, and I also code with Python, but that was me just being too extra. So
Okay.
when it comes to the particular statistical method to use for a particular analysis, I'm very well grounded in that, first and foremost. When
Hmm.
it comes to calculation of sample size, all that good stuff with biostat, I'm very well grounded.
Yeah.
So when I'm, cross-functionally relating with the biostat team, because of course we have our biostat team, I shouldn't be the one running the analysis. But then
Yeah.
I definitely understand exactly what they're doing. And when I'm seeing something that doesn't, I know the right questions to ask. That's because I actually have these skills. So to be honest, even when I resumed the role, it took me a while. Not really because I didn't understand what the role was about, but it
Okay.
finally made sense why I now see why I have all this education. Everything that is making me succeed in this role dates back to as far back as when I was 17, when I started the medical school in Nigeria.
Med school.
So
Yeah.
it starts from having that clinical knowledge, translating into even having some form of clinical practice. So you actually touch patients, you've seen patients, you know how the clinical work, workflow can be in the hospital, no matter where it is you've practiced, it's immaterial. You know how these things work. And then getting that extra knowledge by doing the Master of Public Health, delving yourself into research, it comes full circle. All those skills, you just see them start like coming into play in different ways. So yeah, you need technical skills, but not because you are actually the one now running the analysis. Mostly because of the fact that you're actually well grounded. But of course, how will you be grounded if you never run an analysis before, if you've never done any project
Yeah.
before? Most of the clinical
Yeah.
research I was involved in, most of the papers, my publications that that has my name has been behind, I've actually intentionally been the data person. So when it comes to
Ah.
the method
Oh.
section, results section, leave it for me because I run the analysis. Just leave it for me.
Yeah.
I was usually that person. That's one thing that also made me stand out when I was interviewing for this position because there are a whole lot of doctors that also had one or two skills here and there. Some of them even had like an MBA and all that other extra degrees aside the MD. But even I remember my senior director telling me the other day that she remembers that what made me stand out was the fact that they were blown away with the level of technical skills I had, aside having other skills, that were required for the role. And I want us to also remember one thing for those that are looking to grow. When you are growing, if there's anything you are good at doing, do it well. Because at some point, You'll be a director, you'll be a senior manager. No director or
Mm-hmm.
senior manager is exactly running analysis anymore. But it's
Yeah.
that knowledge you have that you can say, do this, do that. When something does not look right, you know who to call, you know why it
You
is not
know.
right.
Yeah.
So even if we're all running around saying we're getting this skill, we're getting this skill, you will not do these things forever. At some point, you'll be the one directing, bringing people together, cross-functionally relating with different kinds of teams. So you will not run analysis forever. You will not write. You will not literally write manuscripts forever. Definitely, but
Mm-hmm.
you will delegate at some point. So
Yeah.
as you do the ranks, it becomes less about technical skills. It becomes less about um, other forms of theoretical knowledge you have. It now becomes more about people management. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. Absolutely spot on there. Because I mean, everybody that is looking to grow as you grow higher is more of management than actually doing the groundwork itself. But again, you can only manage effectively when you actually know what you should be looking out for.
Exactly.
Do this like you said, oh, this is not right. Can we do it this way? This is what the results should look like, and all of that. That's interesting. So, sorry, excuse me. I don't know why I'm tripping. Let's take some
That's
water.
okay. It's it's pretty early for you.
So looking at the area of work-life balance now, because this is another question
Yeah.
I get all the time. People who are looking for alternative careers, like, can I do hybrid? Is it fully remote? Must I be on site all the time? So, I mean, from your own perspective, what's your work-life balance like?
Before I assumed this role, for the last 3 years, I work remotely.
Full
So
time?
I'm not even joking. In all my
Wow,
roles in the NIH, I worked remotely. That's because the world was becoming something else
COVID.
and places had to adapt. And so there are many people that still have that kind of schedule. So in essence, not being a clinician lends itself to that such possibility. Yes, you can see patients through telemedicine, but guess what? You must show up at the hospital. You must show up, right?
Yeah.
But for the rest of us, we literally can work from anywhere. So yeah, my in my current role, the
Hmm.
company is trying to encourage people to just be at the office because I think they just miss seeing people. So they're like, oh, okay, you can be remote, but sometimes come hybrid. So we have like an hybrid arrangement, whatever. And because I'm senior management, to be honest, they tell me, oh, when you come, you come. So it's fine. It's not, to be honest, I'm
You,
not.
you paid your dues, have you?
I'm not paid. I paid the dues. I paid the dues. Okay. So yeah, I've actually paid the dues. So now when you come, you come. I'm very. It's work like that. It's beautiful. It's really
Okay.
beautiful. Hmm.
So that's good to know. I mean, as you climb higher, you have more sort of flexibility in your
Hmm.
schedule, really. So that's really good to know. Then looking at you did MPH, right? Looking back now, would you say it's a must that somebody must do MPH if I was looking to get into this space?
You can do an MBA.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be an MPH. However, you might not get your footing into pharma or medical devices, maybe through the clinical research pathway. It might not be the typical way. It could be maybe
Yeah.
through consulting, for instance, to learn the
Okay.
self. And then at some point, because you have a medical degree, the company will look for a way to say, how can you still be at the medical affairs? They like us being there. Let's not be, do you understand?
In medical
So
affairs.
yeah, medical or clinical affairs, like they like us. It looks good, to be honest, when you're looking at the organogram. So yes, you
Yeah.
can actually have an MBA. You don't have to get an MPH to finally delve into pharma. You can get all other kinds of graduate degrees. It's just that your starting point might not be true research focus. Do you understand?
Okay.
You can
Okay.
even have done like I know they have like data science programs that are now graduate level, so it doesn't have to be an MPH. If you really want to be on the data side of things, you can go through that rank. After all, people that are in the biostatistics team, right? The biostatistics team if you're growing through that rank, at some point you get to be like a director and all that. You start because you're data heavy. They also like doctors being there because, like I said, at the end of the day, when it comes to biopharma, when it comes to medical devices or all that such similar companies, it's all about solving a health problem. Is it
Yeah.
heart disease? Is it cancer? Whatever. So anybody that has that medical background, you are always going to shine. You just need to understand through what channel am I trying to now pivot into this space,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's it. Your medical degree is not enough to really put you in biopharma, especially if you're an international medical graduate.
Mm.
That's because I'll talk from the US perspective. So let me talk from the US perspective. Yes, the US they like to see, even when they see foreign degrees. Hopefully, it's not Nigeria a Nigerian degree. I don't know. They're a bit more. Do you get it?
Mm.
So yeah, so but whenever we just say, "Oh, went to Harvard, went to Boston," you're like, They start nodding. They're like,
Yeah.
"Wow, geckos," that kind of thing. So because the reason why I said this is because I actually have colleagues that went to medical schools in America here. I have some colleagues that work with me now, and all they had to do was just go to medical school. And they're like, I'm not taking these steps, but I want to be in pharma. So they work in clinical affairs or they
Yeah.
become medical writers and from there grow the rank. But if you have a foreign degree and it's not still UK, it's not like Australia, if you call Nigeria, they're a bit
Extra
snobbish.
work for you.
Let's not be lying. Let's not be joking here. So yeah, you need some kind of entrance. It doesn't have to be MPH. You have to search within yourself what's that thing you really want. The reason why I like the MPH program is that it gives you a best of both worlds. It gives you an opportunity to visit the data side. Because even like in my school, where I did, at Boston University, if you wanted to be more biostatistics, you literally could have been only biostat, no epi.
All true.
All true. So you can so your degree will actually come as a master's of public health with a specialty in biostat. That's because everything you did was in biostat. I wanted
Biostats.
that
Yeah.
balance. Yeah, yeah. So I have colleagues too that are working as data scientists, to be honest. Amazon, Google, and all that, been doing data science. That's because they just did biostat courses. They're also medical doctors, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
in case people are wondering. Do you understand? So yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting, interesting, interesting. So you can also sort of focus on epidemiology all through. So you could
Exactly.
finish with a master's with specialization in epidemiology or something, because that's what you've
And
been
some
doing for the
and some
past.
schools, like in the US, some schools do what is called a dual degree. Like
Okay.
Johns Hopkins, they do MPA/MBA.
Hmm.
It's a good one. It's a
How
good
long is that
marriage.
program?
Same. That's because they now look for a way to ensure that because it's all about how many credits you need to qualify to be able to say, okay, it's time to graduate, right? So of course, it's a little bit more rigorous, but your courses are chosen in such a way that they can marry each other and you can cope. So yeah, there are many people
Mm-hmm.
I know too that also did like dual degrees. And it's understandable. To be honest, it's okay. So for those that are listening, I will say this a lot. It's okay to even start and not know what you're doing. Why am I even doing
Right?
safe? But give yourself that chance to settle down, understand why am I here. And if you need to switch, it's okay. Nobody's going to kill you. Switch on time. At every point, you need to keep reevaluating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Mm-hmm.
don't keep doing that, you don't know whether you're in the right place. So it's okay not to understand what you're doing
What
on
you
the
expect to do when you're
outset.
doing it.
It's not because everybody's doing an MPH. You go, no, 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 that's not how I do it. Ask yourself, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are those things I really enjoy? In my own case, I I was waiting for primaries, these people to pick me, and it was not coming soon. I was like, I don't want it to be that I don't have I'll be waiting. I don't have an extra degree. It does not make sense. Like we like book too much in my house. Let me not be joking here. So I was like, let me just get an extra degree. But in doing that, I was able to settle into it, and I liked it. I understood where I found myself reevaluating, and I told myself, oh my god, I think I made the right decision. And even if I didn't
Mm-hmm.
do, I was in a very Boston University is very good. Go to good schools, please. Everybody, that reminds me. Choose good schools. So
but those schools are very expensive now.
I didn't pay a dime.
Are you serious?
See, I know
Scholarship?
I know how to. If it's how to get scholar, no. The days when my colleagues knew I did, they were like, "How?" I say, "You don't understand. How was your SOP? Kill it. Leave no stone
Yeah.
unturned.
Tons.
See, unless they're not ready, even yeah, unless they're not hungry enough. I didn't pay a dime. It's an expensive school. That's true. But go to good schools. There's a reason why I say this. So because they always reevaluate. We have like very good career services in my school, right? They're always
Okay.
reevaluating. The office hours are open. Why are you here? They reevaluate you. They see how you're doing. It's okay. We think you're doing well here. They guide you. They push you. Kind of. And before I know it, you now understand the reasons why these things are being done. Like more often than not. We have lots of companies then that come to our schools twice
Okay.
on bi-monthly basis, talking about what they do and all that. There was so many opportunities for internship. The reason why I say is that I've also interacted, in the course of working, I've interacted with people that went to other okay schools. I'm
Schools.
not trying to put any
Yeah.
school down. And I found out that I was really spoiled in my school. That's because I went to very good schools, a very good school. Also, like all the access I had as a student from Boston University, we have it for life. All the resources.
Wow.
That yes, good school pays. If I go
Wow.
to my school now, my ID card will get me access to everywhere. There is no everywhere. I go back, I log into my like profile back in school.
Yeah.
Any resource I want, I get it
You
on the
get
go.
it.
My email was not closed, was not locked. I had my younger sister that I went to one school like that, and then she was like, I was like, please, what's that? Please, did you go to school? Did you get? So yeah, so these things help. It's okay not to understand where you're going to, but then that's the reason why we're having these kind of sessions. And that thing that helped me was even as at when I was in medical school, that was something I learned. I've never really followed my classmates. I've always been that person that when I come, if I'm in 100 level, I'll make friends in 300 level, I'll make friends in 400 level. I was that person that was helping people that were preparing for second MBBS exam while in 200 level. Before I even was second MBA, I
Mm.
was coach. The reason I was doing that was because every time I prepare for the future right in the present, I get a better understanding of, okay, this is how it's going to be. Okay, this is how I'm going
Be.
to approach it. I never follow the crowd, not because I'm the best or anything, but it's just my nature. And I think I listened to my parents a lot when it came to those kind of things. They kept on putting it in me. I said, no, this is how you do it. This is how you get better. I don't have any medical doctor in my family. I'm the first medical doctor in my family. My family is filled with
Okay.
all kinds of engineers and all that. They are just into the whole engineering world. So, when it came to mentorship, I didn't have that on the home front. So I had to work hard for it. And then when it comes to LinkedIn, so in my mind, I'll be like, okay, I think I want to go here. I literally will go to the search bar on LinkedIn. And for instance, just when I was going to maybe pharma, I'll say, for instance, okay, I will just type up one position. And then I look at the profiles. And
Yeah.
then I'll see where I'll say, okay, this person is now a director. But how did this person start though? And I was okay, she was
Yes,
once
sir.
a medical doctor. Oh, she now did this, she now did that. And I was like, this is the pathway. Like I keep looking at profiles till now because I'm still growing. Forget I'm in senior
I
management,
still
right?
do that. I do that too.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how to grow. You will not get all the answers from gist. You will not get all the answers from even this kind of interaction. You will also need to do the extra work. You might not have opportunities to attend conferences and all that. You might not even have like doctors in your family and people that have done things outside the box. But you see that LinkedIn, I pay for premium. There's a reason for that. And I literally look
Yeah.
at this profile. I'll be like, I think, this is how I want to go. Okay, this makes sense. Okay, I'm now here. Oh, this is what this person had to do. I even send them messages on LinkedIn and be like, please, you have like 30 minutes. I want to talk about this, where I am in my journey if you have time. Of course, a lot of people might turn you down, but the three, four people that will accept those opportunities have also been
Yeah.
instrumental. I also got my resume reviewed by strangers on LinkedIn. So you have to spread yourself all out. Learning is a continuous process, especially when you're going to do something outside the box. You need a lot of
Hmm.
support. and you need to be out there. That's the only way to do it.
I mean, you're correct because I tell people that I mean, LinkedIn is actually a very good resource. You know,
Best social media network
most
ever.
more than half of what I've done now, I mean, is through people I don't even know, but I just met them on LinkedIn,
Yeah,
and they're happy to collaborate on one project or the other to just get things moving. So I just feel most times it's really underutilized, especially for people who are looking to sort of grow in their careers or figure out
true,
next steps, really.
true.
Because another thing I noticed is that a lot of people are actually willing to, share knowledge or mentor people. Okay, this is how I did it. This is what I didn't do. These were the mistakes I made so that you don't make it. But when you don't ask the questions, nobody is going to come knocking at your door to say, "Hey, come, let me show you the way."
Let me show
You
you
know,
the way. Nah, doesn't occur. Doesn't
you
work that
know.
way. Hmm.
hmm So I think that that's a good point. I mean, people should try to use LinkedIn more frequently. Then I mean, as we were speaking, I also remembered something. Some people ask me, is it better to finish med school and just jump into an MSc or MPH program? And most times I say no. I'm not saying it's bad, but like you said, it's really good to understand how the system works. Even if it's for 1 year or 2 years, be in the hospital, practice as a clinician, treat patients, see how the whole thing works out. Because down the line, you find that knowledge very, very invaluable. I mean, looking
Yes.
at what I do now on EPR projects and all of that, there are times when I have to switch on my doctor cap. Okay, let me look at this from a doctor perspective. Would this be the case? No, it can't work. Then I start arguing that we can't do this way because this is not how doctors work. Then it
Yeah.
begins to make sense to the developers or whoever is building whatever software.
Exactly.
So
Yes, I completely agree with you. We forget that having that internship here, having that NYSC here is actually education.
yeah.
It's not just practice.
Uh-huh.
You've done clinicals, you've done all that, you've passed your MBBS. Best believe when you put your when you go to the hospital and actually touch patients and actually be the one to be saying taps this, IV this,
Yeah.
and all that, it hits differently. There's especially NYSC, as in it's clear that yes. So it's important to do the whole 360 by solidifying your
hmm
knowledge in every way. Nobody can bamboozle you, nobody can shake you in what you know. Yes, you don't specialize, but guess what? At least per general knowledge, right? You have
Yeah.
transferred the system. You've not just gone to school, you've actually touched patients. You know what it feels like. Plus, there are invaluable skills you will learn by actually trying to complete the whole process.
hmm hmm
And you will not know how those skills will come into full even if you have to dive, get out of clinical medicine. Everything will come 360. It might not hit you immediately. At some point, you'll be like, I can't even believe I'm using this knowledge I learned or this thing I just knew, like how many down the line. When I was interviewing for this
Yeah.
position, um, the joke is always on people when they say, "Oh, if your resume is more than 2 pages, nobody's going to read it." My resume, for God's sake, I'm well accomplished. Like I've done a lot, not because I'm whatever, but I've really done a lot. I've really applied myself. So my resume was 4.5 a page, and
Um,
the director that was interviewing me from the fourth page. So far back,
mhm.
because usually your most recent experiences are the
Recent
ones.
one on top. Yeah.
Here we go. And what was that experience? The my experience with PEPFAR clinics back during internship,
Step one in Nigeria. Interesting.
Nigeria. So you just can never tell. So yeah,
Mm.
do the whole 9 yards. Then decide you don't like it. Decide you want more. It's okay, but do it. Do your NYSC,
Yeah.
do your internship, get it over with, and then if you want something different, that's fine.
Then you
Yeah.
can move on. Yeah. I'm happy you're also re-echoing the same
Yeah.
sentiments, really, because I just feel it's very important. Then I saw in your LinkedIn profile that you also review journals for GMIR. So how are you able to fit that into your schedule?
It's easy. I mostly do that during the weekend. That's
Okay.
because I feel if you are growing, especially when you are growing in an alternative pathway, you always have to. I'm trying to build a portfolio career, right? So you always have to have that something that still makes you like different, unique, look like, oh, this person is actually trying to make sure that she's covering all her bases and all that. So
Yeah.
yes, I have time. I actually review papers for that journal, but of course, when I was applying to be a reviewer, I just pick certain like specialties that I knew that will marry well with wherever it is I'm
What you're
going to.
doing.
So I don't have a lot of papers most times to review. But like this year alone, I think I've reviewed like 12 papers or so. Yeah. But I just mostly do it
And
during the
you
weekend.
beginning of the year, you've done 12. That's a lot now.
I'm too extra sometimes, but then that's it. And then you can decline if you don't feel like it, if you don't have time. So because
Mm-hmm.
most of these journals sometimes always have like 4 or 5 people, 10 self in a particular field. So even if this person declines, some other person can actually
Some other person can pick
review
up.
the
Yeah.
review. And then even when they give you a deadline, you can extend the deadline. So kind of, if you're responsible enough with time, you can find time for that.
Time management.
When it comes to, and that helped because even when I was applying for my immigration stuff, being a reviewer, very important.
Helped.
Mm, yeah, it did.
I think I should take my reviewing serious. I reviewed only one paper last year.
Ah, very pure all righteousness.
And I haven't done any this year at all.
It's an unpaid job, by the way, for people that are wondering. It's unpaid, but it looks good on your
Yeah, it's
profile.
unpaid, but
Yeah,
it's good, really.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
I mean, I enjoy reading other people's work. I mean, seeing it from a different perspective,
Yeah,
trying to figure out what's the thought process behind what this person is doing and all of
exactly.
that. So I think I should take it more serious this year.
Take it
Point
more serious.
notes to myself. Serious notes to myself. Ah, could be so tasking, really. So it's almost 1 hour. Interesting conversation. So for anybody who is looking to get into this space, what would you tell the person looking back at all you've done, your mistakes and everything?
Well, the first thing I'll say is whatever it is you're doing, do it well. Don't cut corners because at some point you will see why it's important to really do things well.
Well,
Secondly, please go out of your way, network with people. You don't have to know them. Let's remove all this our shy attitude. We didn't go to the same school. No, 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 that's not how to do. That's not how to grow in life. You don't have to go to the same schools. You don't have to know the
mhm,
person. You see something you like. You see people are like Dr. Ron said. People are actually willing to share ideas, but if you don't ask, it's not going to be there. For my journey, most of the help I've gotten, like most of the resources that have helped in shaping where I am now, came from people
yeah,
I came to the US without a relative, for people that are wondering. I was that person that landed at the airport and literally told the taxi person to just drive me to the nearest hotel. Let me just rest for the day. Then out. The next day, I'll figure myself out. But then
figure it out.
here I am. So don't be shy. Network a lot. Ask questions. And Nigerians are very, I mean, Nigerian doctors, I definitely know, at least I see their attitude on Twitter, I see their attitude on LinkedIn. They are very willing to, give so much guidance. It's not any disturbance. If you're at the stage of applying for an MPH and it's your SOP, you need review, reach out to someone. I literally have 3 people I'm reviewing their SOPs. I don't know them from anywhere. Some of them are even Ghanaians. So let's not
Mhm,
be sleeping on these things. Then when
yeah,
you're getting that knowledge, apply yourself. And it's okay to keep reevaluating. What do I really want to do? Why am I here? Where is it leading me to? If you can, if you ask yourself that question, you continuously look for ways to ensure that you can find answers to that question, so it can lead you somewhere. Leave no stone unturned. When you are building, to be honest, it's a lot of sleepless nights. Ride with that wave. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot out of you. We are going to make a headway that you'll be satisfied with if you put in the work. Those are the things I'll and then be true to yourself, right? Don't do head mentality. What you cannot do, you cannot do. But don't be too quick to dismiss yourself. You might not be too sure about what you actually enjoy doing if you don't give yourself the opportunity. So give yourself the
That's
opportunity to try, reevaluate. If you don't like something, move immediately and keep talking to people. Trust me, whatever it is anybody wants to do, is not too new. It might be a little bit different, but is it
mhm,
totally? There is nothing new under the sun. Let's not be joking here. Yeah.
exactly.
So when you understand that there's nothing new under the sun, there's always someone that can give you good guidance. Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, thanks for that. I mean, point taken again. I mean, a lot of self-reflection is very key. You need to
Sorry, one
take
more thing. Data skills. I won't lie. It used to help. Try.
see this
try,
this
try,
data skills.
try.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Try. Try from my experience. Try data. Try it. Small, Sha.
Yeah,
Just try.
it's good. I agree with you because I took
Try.
this initially. I mean, I had interest in data analysis and all of that. So I
Mm-hmm.
signed up for this Google data analytics course and all of that, which
Yeah.
sort of gave me the basics and everything. Then I got into R, I got into Python,
Correct.
but when you have to spend some time writing those codes. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
that patient to sit for that long
I
hours to
understand.
write those codes. There was a particular day I wrote a code, and I now hit the run button. The code didn't run. I couldn't figure out why it wasn't running.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't just figure out. After like 4 hours, I now called a friend. Guy, please come and help me look at this code. What's the problem? The guy just glanced at the code. He was like, Casey, just remove that dot from there. I removed the dot and clicked the run
I say
button
what?
and the thing ran. I was like, 4 hours. I said, no, this is bye bye to data.
Yeah, I get the frustration.
Yeah, so that's how I ran away. But I mean, the basics, it comes in quite handy, really, on some of the things I do because I work with data guys, database manager. So I understand what it is I should be looking for, what the schema should look like. So I know all of those things, really, but I shouldn't be the one running the analysis all the time. So yeah, good point. Data skills very important. I mean, and it's a big thing now. Everybody is going data, big data,
Exactly.
cloud, and everything. So you can't go wrong with picking up data skills, really. So I totally agree with you. It's almost the 1 hour mark, and I mean, I wish we could still keep talking, but I shall have to give your time back. Thank you for giving us, this interesting time. So for people who are they happy? Are you happy for people to reach you on LinkedIn or on Twitter, mentorship?
Yes, I'm open to that. I didn't get here by myself. I got here because people that I might be slow, but I'll.
the last minutes of the today's episode. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. It froze.
Ah, oh, okay. That's fine. I was just saying that let's wait for you to come back, then we can just wind down properly, you know. I mean, we'll hit
Okay,
the
yeah.
1 hour mark.
So I
Yep,
was saying that people can reach out to me, LinkedIn, Twitter.
yep.
Feel free.
Okay. All right. So you guys, you've heard it. You can reach out to her on LinkedIn, on Twitter, but please don't bombard her too much. She still has her 9 to 5 job and she'll reply when she can. Because that's another thing I battle with. You know, my DMs are flooded and people like, ah, you've not answered,
And
you've
then
not answered.
and then different time zones. So some people
And
feel like,
different time
okay, there's no
zones.
way she's not. No, no. Don't do that. Don't be
Exactly.
like,
I mean,
I'm seven
when I'm
hours
awake
away.
is when some people are sleeping. Exactly. So that's
Exactly.
huge difference. So thanks, Ella, for coming on air to share your experience. And I believe a lot of persons who are watching would have picked one or two things. And those who are looking to follow you in this road, reach out to you in your DM and hopefully get all the mentorship and guidance they needs to progress. And with that, I'll be signing out. Thank you once again for coming on air, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.